جمال الوجود بذكر الإله، وتصفو الحياة بنور هدى.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inshallah, we'll be reciting from Surah Al-Furqan, the verses from the 61 till the end of the Surah 77, which is something, subhanallah, is a reminder for all of us. Those verses describing Ibadur Rahman, and I hope and I pray all of us will be among those. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تبارك الذي جعل في السماء بروجا وجعل فيها سراجا وقمرا منيرا، وهو الذي جعل الليل والنهار خلفة لمن أراد أن يذكر أو أراد شكورا. وعباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما. والذين يبيتون لربهم سجدا وقياما، والذين يقولون ربنا اصرف عنا عذاب جهنم إن عذابها كان غراما إنها ساءت مستقرا ومقاما. والذين إذا أنفقوا لم يسرفوا ولم يقتروا وكان بين ذلك قواما. والذين لا يدعون مع الله إلها آخر ولا يقتلون النفس التي حرم الله إلا بالحق ولا يزنون، ومن يفعل ذلك يلقى أثاما يضاعف له العذاب يوم القيامة ويخلد فيه مهانا إلا من تاب وآمن وعمل عملا صالحا فأولئك يبدل الله سيئاتهم حسنات وكان الله غفورا رحيما. ومن تاب وآمن وعمل صالحا فإنه يتوب إلى الله متابا. والذين لا يشهدون الزور وإذا مروا باللغو مروا كراما. والذين إذا ذكروا بآيات ربهم لم يخروا عليها صما وعميانا. والذين يقولون ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. أولئك يجزون الغرفة بما صبروا ويلقون فيها تحية وسلاما خالدين فيها حسنت مستقرا ومقاما. قل ما يعبأ بكم ربي لولا دعاؤكم فقد كذبتم فسوف يكون لزاما. صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Ahmed. That was amazing and heart-touching. In our days here, the 2 days and 3 days we have been here at the conference, I and rest of the board members, we've come across many people asking questions about the GAIS as an organization. How does it function? How do we do things? So we thought and we had this plan from the very start that towards the last day, which is today, we're going to have a small Q&A session with everyone. If anyone has any question, can do that. However, before you ask questions, we would like to give a small update on how GIS plans to operate. So we recently had our strategy meetup in Istanbul, and strategy is about not doing many things, but picking what to do. And we do appreciate that as an organization, we are one among many. There are many people in this hall, those who are not in this hall, doing a lot for Islamic education. So we are honored to be part of that ecosystem. One thing that as GIS we had planned for ourselves was that we're going to be a knowledge sharing platform. Platforms like this, where you come from different parts of the world and discuss your problems, try to find solutions to your issues. This knowledge sharing takes place in this manner. However, as GAIS, we wish to expand this and have maybe schools of distinctions being showcased through visits, through tours, so that people can learn from the good practices that are there around the globe, inshallah. So this is one thing that we have planned for ourselves. As I said initially, that we as an organization, we're part of an ecosystem, so we can do only a few things, but we rely on this collective intellectual capital that we have to grow this mission that we have. We also try and provide thought leadership. We were blessed to have Professor Abdullah and Dr. Shaheen give their guidance, and many of the speakers, they did so in the past 2 days, and they'll continue to do so today. So we bring thought leadership to the people so that they can contextualize what they learn and bring that into their schools, inshallah. We also wish to have to create a minimum viable entity at GIS. So someone said to me that, mashallah, you've done so well, this is a very well organized event, I'm sure you must have like 10 people working for you. And I told them that, on our paid, on our payroll, we have half the person. We have one part-time person who works for us, inshallah. But alhamdulillah, we're blessed to have a board that's not a strategic board, but we work in the sense that we are directly involved in the operations. And this is why GIS wants to have an operational arm through which we can expand the work that we do. At GIS, many people in the corridors have talked to us and said, why don't you, as GIS, give us a curriculum as to what to do? Or just give us this one teacher training that, all the Muslims in the world can do. We as GIS cannot do that. We we bring people together, we amplify the work that they are doing. They're doing good work. They're experts in their fields. We don't want to replicate anything. We want to amplify their work. We want to enable them in a structured, systematic manner so that their work reaches you. This is what we want to do. So these are the three things that I've talked about. Brother Zafar, inshallah, will continue with the rest.
Thank you very much, Fahad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I just want to add one comment to something Brother Fahad already mentioned about the knowledge sharing. And that happens through a number of channels. But what we're planning to do, inshallah, and especially through this ISDB grant that was given to us, is to take the network and the sharing of resources to a next level. We plan to upgrade our website to such an extent that the website itself becomes a sharing portal. It's going to be more than a website. It's going to be a portal for sharing resources. So inshallah, we hope in the next not too distant future that the upgrade to our website will include this very needed global resource sharing platform, as Fahad said, not to recreate, not to duplicate work that's being done, but to amplify the work that's being done. I may be in South Africa experiencing a problem with the teaching of Arabic in my school, but someone in Australia has already got a solution for it. The idea is to connect the dots and to make sure we're not all expanding the resources of the Ummah by recreating the wheel all over again. So we will connect the dots to make sure all of that happens, inshallah. There are many things that happens at GAIS during the course of the year, but the premium event, of course, is our annual conference, this being the 4th. And we work hard from one conference to the next to make sure it's relevant and meaningful and impactful and brings value to the people, mashallah. Of course, there are also some very strategic choices that have to be made about where in the world we have the conference, what the theme is, and who the keynote speakers are. So because we have a global family, we try to move the conference to different geographies in the world to allow different communities to access the conference easily. We were in Southeast Asia last year in Malaysia. So for many people, it was a long-haul flight to get there. But for people in Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Philippines, easily accessible. Over the years, we've had many people from India and Pakistan attend our conference. And so we brought it up here closer to Sri Lanka, so Indians and Pakistanis can travel with ease, short distance, and someone else has to make the long haul. And inshallah, the next conference will move to another part of the world to afford that community ease of traveling with a short distance, and someone else will have to do the long haul. There are some countries obviously will always do a long haul. my country is right at the bottom. In South Africa, it's a long haul to anywhere in the world. Countries like America, for example, may not be a suitable venue, restrictions with visas and costs and traveling, etc. So maybe that won't be a possibility in the current situation. Maybe when things change there, we can consider it. But just so you understand that those are some of the decisions we take when we look at conferences. But all of our conferences to date have focused primarily on leadership, because we understand schools around the world can't afford to send teachers on an international flight, 3 days hotel expense, miss school for a week. But you can send a leader from your school or a board of governor or somebody. So how do we impact the chalk face, as if it were? Our soldiers at the front, our teachers. So inshallah, for 4 years, we worked only with leaders, and our future conferences will continue to work with leaders, but we have aspirations now to reach our good arm to the soldiers at the chalk face, our teachers. And the way we intend to do this, inshallah, in the coming year or two, is GAIS now are going to be partnering with local associations, when they're having teacher conferences in their own regions or in their own countries, GAIS will join those conferences and bring the expertise and the network of the Global Association to that country, at which we will address issues for leadership, but it also gives us an opportunity to reach the teachers. So inshallah, it's our aspiration, and we pray that Allah makes this possible for us to shortly visit you in your own countries and be part, as Fahad said, to amplify the work you're doing in your own countries, but we will bring the green and gold of the Global Association of Islamic Schools to your good countries, inshallah. The last 4 conferences, as I said, were primarily around leadership. Last year, we had a panel discussion in Malaysia about the pipeline for leadership development in Islamic schools. In my own beautiful country, there are a number of schools that have advertised vacancies for principals of Islamic schools. Some of those vacancies are opened for 5 years and can't get filled. And very often, a compromised candidate is appointed just so that somebody is in the post. And I learned last year when we had the panel discussion on leadership in different countries that this is true for so many countries. For different reasons, schools do not have a pool and a pipeline of leaders to take over Islamic schools. And the other gap in the market, my own good country and many other countries, you could do a diploma or a degree in educational leadership. But for us, you see, in Islamic schools, that's not good enough. We need educational leadership programs with an Islamic worldview. We don't just need educational leadership. It's akin to an eagle soaring on the mountains, high above the mountains, flying with 2 strong wings, one with experience and competence and ability in leadership, and the other equally strong with an Islamic worldview. And that's what we're looking for. Well-rounded, competent, experienced, qualified, educational leaders that also have a very strong Islamic worldview. And there are very few of these programs around in the world. So what we intend to do, inshallah, shortly, is to host an online webinar where we will invite all of these service providers that provide educational leadership training with an Islamic worldview. We'll showcase these to the world, and people in different parts of the world can sign up and do these training courses and make sure that we don't only fill the current need of a principal's vacancy in your school, but we begin to think strategically and develop a pipeline of future leaders for each of our communities and schools, inshallah. So in the not too distant future, it's our aspiration to hold such an online seminar where we showcase all current service providers that provide educational leadership training with an Islamic worldview. If we find a gap in this area, we have had conversations with the Islamic University of Malaysia. Professor Dawood is here, and they are currently working and getting a course accredited at the University of Malaysia, exactly in line with the vision I've outlined for GIS, inshallah. And we look forward to bringing this to the global community to ensure the sustainability for our schools and to ensure we have the right leadership at the top, inshallah. Finally, I just want to expand on what Fahad said about thought leadership. And we are blessed that in our community, the depth of intellectual and human capital that's so readily available to us. All of our speakers come to a conference like this at their own expense. We're not in a position to pay their travel and pay their accommodation and pay their time off work. It's such a giving, generous community, mashallah. And so we all benefit from that. But what we want to do now is there are organizations that are doing research in the field of Islamic education. But we want to direct that research based on the current and future needs of Islamic schools. That GIS and its membership will identify the areas of leadership and then tap on the intellectual capital that resides in our diverse, rich, global community and partner with credible universities and fund PhD studies in the areas that we believe as Islamic schools we need solutions to. And all of that research and all of the outcomes, inshallah, will be published in a scholarly paper and accredited academic journal that will contribute meaningfully to the global Islamic educational discourse for years to come, inshallah. So these are some of the things we have in mind in the not too distant future, a glimpse of some of the items from the strategic planning process that we've undertaken. And I want to thank the Board of Governors, Fahad and everybody else for the sterling work they've done. And please do remember us in your du'as, and may Allah take this organization from strength to strength, and we look forward to your support in the years ahead, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
سعد إلى منتهى